What drives a person to destroy something beautiful, something built with love, only to face the wreckage of their own making? On a sun-drenched Montana ranch, where the air smelled of pine and possibility, I learned the answer the hard way. My name is Ethan Caldwell, and this is the story of how Karen Whitmore tore apart my dream and how fate twisted the knife in ways none of us could have predicted. It started with a vision. 5 years ago, I inherited my grandfather's sprawling ranch, a place of rolling hills and endless skies. The land was my sanctuary, but it was also my burden. Taxes and upkeep gnawed at my savings. I needed a way to keep it alive. That's when I built the mini golf course. It wasn't just any course. It was a love letter to the ranch. Each hole told a story. One was shaped like Grandpa's old tractor, another like the barn where I'd played as a kid. Families came from miles away, laughing, bonding, making memories. The course wasn't just a business, it was my heart poured into every blade of grass. Karen Whitmore arrived on a crisp September morning. She stormed into the ranch office, her designer sunglasses perched like a crown, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "This place is a disgrace," she snapped, waving a manicured hand. "I'm here for my son's birthday party, and I expect perfection." I smiled, used to demanding customers, and assured her we'd make it special. Her son, Timmy, a shy kid with wide eyes, seemed thrilled just to be there. I liked him instantly. Karen, not so much. The party started well. Kids ran across the course, their laughter echoing. I watched from the sidelines, proud of what I'd built. Then it happened. Karen, in her pristine white sneakers, started complaining. The holes were too rustic. The windmill on hole 7 was tacky. She demanded I fix it mid-party. I explained we couldn't redesign a course on the spot, but I offered extra snacks, a free round anything to keep the peace. Her eyes narrowed. "You'll regret this," she hissed. I didn't take her seriously. Not then. That night, after the party, I locked up and went home. The next morning I arrived to chaos. The course was unrecognizable. Greens were torn up. The tractor hole was a mud pit. The windmill lay in splinters. My heart sank as I surveyed the damage. Thousands of dollars, months of work, gone. A note was pinned to the office door. "You should have listened, K." Security footage confirmed it. Karen, in the dead of night, wielding a shovel and a vengeance I couldn't comprehend. I called the police. They found her at her upscale condo in town, unapologetic. "It was an eyesore," she said, as if that justified her rampage. The community was outraged. The ranch was more than a business. It was a gathering place, a slice of joy in a world that often felt heavy. Karen's actions weren't just vandalism, they were a betrayal of something sacred. The case went to court. I sat in the gallery, watching Karen's smug expression as her lawyer argued she'd lost control due to stress. Stress? I thought of the nights I'd spent building that course, the calluses on my hands, the dreams I'd pinned on it. The judge wasn't swayed. The verdict came down like a hammer. $130,000 in damages, and an unprecedented order. Karen had to rebuild the course herself. No contractors, no shortcuts. Just her, a shovel, and the weight of her choices. I thought that was the end. Justice served, right? But life has a way of complicating things. Enter Lila Monroe, a quiet woman who'd been coming to the ranch for years. She was a regular, always sketching in a notebook by the 9th hole, her gray hair tied back in a loose bun. I barely knew her, but she approached me after the verdict. "Ethan," she said, her voice soft but firm, "I need to tell you something about Karen." Lila's story was the twist I never saw coming. She'd known Karen years ago, back when Karen was just a young woman with big dreams and a kind heart. They'd worked together at a community center, where Karen organized events for kids like Timmy. But life had broken her. A bitter divorce, financial ruin, and a custody battle had left her angry, brittle, desperate to control anything. "She wasn't always like this," Lila said, her eyes glistening. "She's lost herself." I didn't want to feel sympathy. Karen had destroyed my livelihood, my passion. But Lila's words stuck with me. like a splinter I couldn't pull out. When Karen started rebuilding the course, I watched from a distance. She was clumsy, frustrated, her hands blistered from the shovel. The community jeered, some even throwing insults as she worked. Timmy came sometimes, sitting quietly on a bench, watching his mother struggle. I saw the shame in his eyes, and it gutted me. One day I approached her. "Why'd you do it, Karen?" I asked, not expecting an answer. She looked up, dirt smudged on her face, and for the first time, I saw something break in her. "I wanted to feel powerful," she whispered. "I wanted to matter." It wasn't an apology, but it was raw, real. I didn't forgive her not then, but I started to see her as more than a villain. Weeks turned into months. Karen worked doggedly, rebuilding what she'd destroyed. The community's anger softened as they saw her sweat, her hands calloused, her pride stripped away. Timmy started helping, carrying tools, planting grass. I found myself helping too, showing her how to level the greens, how to rebuild the windmill. It wasn't forgiveness, not exactly. It was something messier, something human. Then came the final twist, the one that broke me. Lila, who'd been watching from the sidelines, fell ill. Cancer, fast and merciless. She'd been the one to push for understanding, to remind me that people are more than their worst moments. On her last day, she called me to her bedside. "Finish the course with her, Ethan," she said. "Not for her, for you, for Timmy." I promised I would. The course was finished on a cold December morning. Karen and I stood back, looking at the restored greens, the new windmill spinning lazily. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours, hers, mine, Timmy's. The community came back, hesitant at first, then with open hearts. Timmy ran across the course, laughing, and for a moment, I saw the boy he could be, free from his mother's shadow. But life isn't a fairy tale. Karen's fines and legal fees left her bankrupt. She and Timmy moved away, unable to afford the town's rising costs. I heard they were living in a small apartment somewhere in Idaho, starting over. I wanted to feel triumph, but all I felt was a hollow ache. The course was back, but Lila was gone. Karen was gone. And Timmy, the quiet kid who'd loved the ranch, was gone too. I walk the course now, alone sometimes, thinking about power, pride, and second chances. Karen tore up my dream, but in rebuilding it, she showed me something I hadn't expected. Redemption is messy, painful, and often incomplete. The ranch is still here, the laughter of families echoing again. But every time I see the windmill spin, I think of Karen's blistered hands, Timmy's shy smile, and Lila's quiet wisdom. And I wonder if justice was served her if we all lost something we can't rebuild. ND.